that Donald Trump is stoking fears in a lot of Americans, mainly whites,
Yep.
that are anti-immigration by building a wall to keep people out, all kind of shit like that. So, getting back to E point about the frustration not sitting down with him, you have no obligation to sit down with anybody. So even if you're mad that I'm not,
you're running for president.
So what? Just write bad shit about me. That doesn't give you a right. And also another thing is Donald Trump. I don't think Ramos was wrong.
Okay.
But I don't think Donald Trump was wrong either.
Exactly.
Because the whole thing is Donald Trump.
I think what he said, man, he told him to go back to Univision.
Oh, that was
just like saying go back to Mexico.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm like.
But the brilliance of it is the dude works at Univision. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump is suing Univision for $500 million. Mm-hmm. And he was able to say go back to Univision, but everybody heard go back to Mexico, but you can't go to Donald Trump and say, why are you telling me to go back to Mexico? You can't say that. But we all know he wanted this. We all know what the meaning was. Mm-hmm. And you got me. That's brilliant. That's like telling your boss, go fuck you, and everybody in the room know you just told your boss, go fuck you.
And he can't fire you.
And he can't fire you.
He can't fire
and everybody know you said, yo, go fuck you. Go fuck
crazy.
yourself.
This is crazy.
Well,
and when you look at the polls and you see this guy winning, and I know we got a little past it. It's been a little time since they actually sat down and had that whole Republican debate when they introduced everybody. He didn't look good. For him to be leading at this point, and I was sitting there watching it because, you know, I'm paying attention to what's going on in these Republicans, and the ones that stood out to me was Chris Christie, Rand Paul, Dr. Ben Carson, and Mike Huckabee. For him to be leading these people with no kind of plan.
What does that tell you? What is that saying? Does that say something about the competition?
The popularity.
Yeah. But I mean, also you gotta remember this: 16 people in the Republican thing. So there is a. So remember, the more people, the smaller percentage is a win. Like normally at 28%, which Trump is at, he would lose Republican primaries because the first place would probably have like around 50, 60. You know what I'm saying? He'd probably have like 28. That'd be second place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or maybe first place would have like 45. Or 50, that next place will have something else. But when it's spread out through 16 people, you know, if you have like Dr. Ben Carson has 13%, he's second place. Like 13% is not a lot.
That's right.
And remember, that's only the Republican Party. That's only primary voters. That's not even like, you know.
It's still early.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's leading.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, you know, that's a Trump, you know what I mean?
Donald.
He keeps his
hair is real.
Yeah, he keeps the cable news going, he keeps our podcast going.
It's crazy.
All right, so that's we're gonna take a quick break right now. We come back, we're gonna interview our boy Skip, have some tales about old Harlem's Politic Ditto with Bam and E.
Just that.
All right, peace.
Let's connect Politic Ditto.
And we're back. Bam and E.
Just that.
Politic Ditto here with Skip.
What's going on, everybody?
Now we're gonna get into Skip's a Harlem OG. Where you from exactly, Skip?
I'm from Lincoln Projects.
Okay.
And where is that a roundabout?
Lincoln Projects is from 135th Street to 132nd Street, from 5th Avenue to Park Avenue.
Okay. Now, Skip lives in my building. We live in the same building. We hang out. You know what I mean? And while Skip and I would be hanging out, we would just start talking. And this nigga would just tell me the craziest shit ever. Like, yeah, just
like what?
Just phenomenal tales of just, yo, could you? What about the whole bundle thing when niggas had you off the bridge?
Wow.
There's no murders in that story. There's no nothing. So there's no statute of limitation on that story that ran out.
Well,
and I could bleep out all names. You know what I'm saying? Like anything you say, we could go back and I can like.
Well, you know what I'm saying. You know, it doesn't even matter, man. I'm 55, so I was born in the '60s.
Okay.
And when I if for lack of better words, when I start coming of age, it was like during the 70s, and life was much, much different than it is now, you know?
How different was life?
Well, when you're talking about the hustle game and the street game, back then it was more for less. You know, if you get my meaning. And like now in the game is less for more. You know,
like more for. So, like, can you give me like a concrete description right now?
Oh, absolutely. You get a bag of smoke. You get a bag of good smoke for $3, right? And they call them tray bags. And you could roll possibly 15 joints out of them. I mean, you know, I know they smoke blunts now, so in blunt term, you'll probably get about 5 blunts out of a tray bag. And now you spend $20 for a bag of sour because sour is exotic and it's good. It's much better than green, right? You spend $20 for a bag of sour, you're gonna get what, a blunt or 2 if necessary. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And what I mean by that, even in the hustle game, you know, back then it was dope. Gotcha. Dope was the thing. Montega. Wow. You know what I'm saying? And that's what dudes was getting rich off of. I'm pretty sure everybody heard of Nicky Barnes and
So wait. So when you were in, like, growing up, like, cause you were around 135th, like, you saw these niggas like walking, like, you literally saw like Nicky and Guy Brew, like, you saw their car, like, you saw them niggas, like, you were.
I never had a relationship with them.
But I mean, but these are people you saw.
I knew who they were. Yes, when I saw them, I knew who they were, and I knew what they was doing. And because I wanted to be a fucking gangster, right? I was around motherfuckers that was around cats like them. Maybe you had a dude that you knew, a dude that knew your man, and his man was somebody's lieutenant, or he was getting hit. You understand what I'm saying? So that's how the relationship came. And you might have cats that want to see you get money too. So they're gonna put you on. Yo, come with me downtown, man. I want you to be a lookout. You know what I'm saying? Every day I did that. Every day we used to get $25 spread out money, and all I did was stand on the corner and look out for the police.
Okay.
I had to do nothing.
This is what, 70?
We're talking about 1974, 1975.
The year I was born.
Yeah.
Okay. 1976. You know, 77, and that's how it was back then. There was a lot of loyalty. But you also had grimy motherfuckers. You also had your stick-up kids. You also had your snitches. That shit was a part of the game as well. You know, but
But how was? I know a lot of times you would tell me about, like, I was telling E about how, like, you know, me and E come from Connecticut. You know, like, most time you hear about drug dealers, like, we know it's. Nas broke down a lot. That whole memory lane. Yeah. Like, I never heard of. I heard of Alpo before then, but I never heard of, like, Fat Cat. Yeah. I never heard of Pappy Mason before then. You know what I'm saying? Even though Pappy Mason was major news in New York, and I'm sure that news probably hit Connecticut when he killed Eddie Byrne, but it wasn't like, as a 10-year-old, I don't really care about that shit. You know what I'm saying? But I told Eric, like, you was naming, like, mad niggas who were just getting money, and you would just break down how.
Well, you know, you talk about Nas and Pappy. Pappy's from out of Brooklyn. Okay. And you talk about Cat and these dudes, they from Queens. You talking about Queens mob. And, you know, unfortunately, I did a lot of time in prison. And, you know, I got to know some of these dudes, man, because it was like that back then. You know, we was all in the same place, so there wasn't
what spots have you been to? Have you had to stay time in?
Well, you know, unfortunately, I just want to say one thing, man. You know, I wasted a lot of time in my life. You know, a lot of years that I can't get back. So I don't promote this shit at all. You know, what I'm telling you is real talk. You know, I think I've been in every spot in the state of New York except for Attica and Green Haven. Okay. Any other spot I've been to Comstock, Clinton, Maine, Clinton Annex, Nappanap, Sullivan, Maine, Sullivan Annex, Washington, some good spots and some bad spots. But
gotcha.
I was in Walk Hill when I met these cats from out of Queens.
All right.
Pete Corley. I don't know if you know the Corley cats, but me and Pete was real cool. And you had a dude named Eddie Lee. And Eddie Lee was the epitome of what I wanted to be. Eddie Lee was a fly motherfucker. Eddie Lee was a nigga this motherfucker, I'm gonna tell you something. This nigga wore minks when niggas was thinking about wearing minks. This nigga was, and that's what happened.
Okay.
And I wanted to be like these cats, man.
And he's from Harlem.
No, Eddie Lee was from Queens.
Oh, but you met him.
But I met him when I was in the pen.
Okay.
I met other cats like Pete Corley. I didn't even know who Pete Corley was till my man pulled my coat. He said, "Yo, you know who that nigga is?" Because me and Pete used to be cool. We used to eat together. We was in War Killing. We used to eat together. Yo, Skip, you got some mac, or you got some rice, or whatever the case may be.
Gotcha.
And my man pulled my. He said, "Yo, Skip, you know who you fucking with? You know who that is?" He said, "That nigga Corley. That's one of the major players in Queens at that time, and he was. It was him. It was Ja Rule and them. It was Supreme.
Gotcha.
His nephew Prince. It was Fat Cat.
Okay.
And these was the major players in Queens, and they was getting a lot of money, and that's how it was back then. But there, you know, I look at the kids today, and I look at what's going on in the game today, and you know, it's sad because when I think back, I did things for a reason.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We wanted to get money, so like Wild Style, we was watching Wild Style. I remember them days. As clear as, you know, we was smoking a lot of PCP. We was selling a lot of motherfucking drugs, and that's what we wanted to do. And we wanted to get fly. We wanted to go to AJ Lester's on 25th Street, British Walkers. We want to be fly, get the big gold name chains, and go to those parties like Wild Style, get dusty, and just listen to music and dance.
How much them chains used to cost back in the day?
Back in the day, you might 300, 500, and you getting a piece.
Okay.
Real gold, solid gold,
I've
heavy
seen
gold.
the price fluctuate of a lot of things: sneakers, gold, clothes, things of that nature. Things has changed, and I just remember coming up seeing older cats with like certain jewels. Sterling was big back then, before gold.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I
Yes.
just was like, damn, how much they used to cost. I remember I wanted a Sterling link so bad. Not even a link, a rope. You know, probably like 84, 85. But what's the most money you probably could talk about that you made, if you can,
At one time.
at one time?
Back then.
Back then.
3,000.
Okay.
That was mine.
Okay.
That I could do whatever I wanted to with it, whatever.
Okay.
But there's times that I've hit some licks,
Yeah.
and yeah, I seen some money.
All right.
I see some money.
Okay.
You know.
So I remember, like, you know, when I moved here, like, always hearing about different stores at different buildings and shit like that. And, you know, I remember one time you told me about that place called Grayskull.
Castle Grayskull.
Can you expound on that a bit?
Absolutely. Those were some really, really dangerous days, man. We talking about the 80s when crack first started being popular, when crack first started coming out, because before that, cats was getting coke, and they was cooking the coke. They was shaking the coke with baking soda and water and smoking it like that. And let me just clear the air, right? You wasn't doing none of this unless you was getting money.
Okay.
Coke was a rich motherfucker's high. So if you getting coke or you dealing with coke back then, you was doing something. You was getting money. Everybody wasn't doing that. Everybody wasn't around cats that was going to clubs, going to fucking 371, going to fucking a Disco Fever, pulling out the $100 bill. You know what I'm saying? Back then, coke wasn't like, it was $100 a gram. Now, what you get a coke for, what, 40?
Yeah.
$40 a gram, $50 a gram. Back then it was $100 a gram, and you getting coke, you getting fish scale, you getting pure coke. You know what I'm saying? And
It was real.
yes, it was.
It was real. It was real.
And
So
you would do
Grayskull-
this. You would do this, right? And you would cook it up,
Gotcha.
and then the crack era came, where you mixing it with chemicals, and cats getting the coke, and they mixing it with chemicals, and they might spend $1,300, but you trying to make, and it's buying, it's popular now. Everybody is fucking smoking crack or getting money off of crack.
So
And
grade
that's how it
school.
was.
So grade school was a place where y'all met for y'all money, or you was